This is legitimately ridiculous at this point as Ivan Demidov continues his tear with a hat trick in the KHL. Now 1 goal behind the all-time record for any teenage season, 2 points behind the all-time points record for any teenage season. He has as many goals as Xhekaj did in just as many games last year, but not only is he only 2 points back, Jesse, he has 19 games left in the schedule to break this record. We got to dive into everything Ivan Demidov. Plus, we do got to talk about Habs versus Jets, and while it wasn't a fun game, there was a few bad things we got to talk about. Juraj Slafkovsky goes and scores a goal, and there are some incredible stats that this goal had an impact on that we have to show you coming up on this episode of Habs Digest. Jesse, let's first get into the game. I know we want to get into Demidov because that dude is nuts, and we got to show you guys those highlights again. But I want to start here just with the box score. Feel free to pause, take a look as always. Not a lot to look for here, Jesse. I just wanted to start off by saying I really hope Cayden Guhle's okay. The reaction from Marty St. Louis after that injury was not great. Any thoughts on this game? I thought Montreal had one of their best first periods of the season, not to mention against one of the best teams in the league in the Jets, but just one of those games that they got outplayed in.
Yeah, one of those games where we had that solid first, shooting them 14-6, but then we knew Winnipeg was going to come out firing. They got some pride in their game right now. So obviously, they were allowed to kind of get much more into this game, obviously in the second period. Then the third, though, Josh, we still had a fighting chance in this game again. We see Anderson, a couple players with some really close chances. Let's get us into one, and then what could happen from there, right? So tonight was interesting because we got the lead, and in my notes for this game, I'm like, okay, well, what are they going to do with it? Because obviously we've seen them kind of be almost more comfortable kind of coming from behind. But again, I think a lot of really solid things. It's not like in the second that they absolutely played terribly. I think it's just a way of kind of finding, maybe sometimes it's being a little bit more direct. I think they were looking for those extra passes a little bit, but a lot of solid stuff to build on for the game tonight.
Yeah, there is stuff to build on. And again, not everything was bad, right? Again, Guhle injury sucks. And the goals that Winnipeg scored, it's not like the mistakes were that bad, right? It's not like these horrible plays that led to these goals. It's just like Kyle Connor and Mark Scheifele are unbelievable players, and you give them a millimeter of space, they score. But again, even on Montreal's bad nights, Jesse, they give themselves a chance to win. This was a pretty bad night for Montreal, and they were right within striking distance. Like you said, if Anderson had scored on that breakaway, that's a 1-goal game with 5 minutes left in the third, and Montreal's right there with one of the best teams in the league. But I got some good news to show you guys just before we get into all this doom and gloom, right? I wanted to mention this about Slaf. This is tweeted by Stu Cowan. A lot of other people talking about this too. Juraj Slafkovsky, our boy Slavzilla, that goal was unreal. He has as many goals in his last 7 games as he did in his first 40. So not only has Slafkovsky been on an absolute tear with 6 points in his last 7 games, having doubling his goal production only in the last 7 games. That top line, Jesse, Caufield, Suzuki, Slafkovsky, is the 5th best team in the entire league for 5-on-5 goals on the ice for. Look at the lines ahead of them. The Jack Hughes line, Nikita Kucherov line, Artemi Panarin line, and this insane first line for the Jets. What does that say about this first line being back together? Because right now they are absolutely rolling, even in the games where Montreal is maybe having a tough team night.
And again, right up there with lines of teams looking like they're going to make the playoffs. So some interesting takeaways. Again, we're just a couple points out, not all doom and gloom there. And with Slaf, we know that bigger guys, it kind of takes a little bit of a longer period sometimes, for them to kind of really get in their game. It's kind of seeming like that with Slaf, in the season. He kind of needs that momentum of the season to kind of really know where he's at and kind of really build off that. Of course, we expect this to improve over time. As he gets more experience and he obviously matures in the NHL, that consistency is going to improve where he's not just kind of that second half type of player because the Montreal Canadiens need him for a full regular season. So the question, I think a really important one going into next year is how is Juraj Slafkovsky going to start? Because now, as he starts to get a couple more years in the NHL, we're going to start expecting him not to wait till that second half to really get it cooking. Because obviously, if he can continue what he's doing in the second half and really kind of build and start off like that, he could have a really monster year as a result.
Second half Slav is a real thing, but I'd like to see first half Slav start to make an appearance. Not that he was horrible, but he definitely didn't find his stride until right now. And look, he was on 50-point pace even after his not-so-great first half. I'm wondering what he's going to finish with this year. If his second half this year is as good as last year, he could very well finish with 60-plus points, which would be such a great thing to see. Because, some people are talking about, Slav, even if he's that 60, 70-point power forward, that would be great. he might get there this year. So as like a 20-year-old. So that's the crazy thing. Just one final thing before we move on to Demidov. You're very right, Jesse. We're still only a couple points out. Now, the games are not all finished. By the time you watch this, I'm not sure if Columbus is playing right now, but Montreal's still only 2 points back of a playoff spot. The Lightning lost. The Bruins got smoked by the Sabres. Montreal, in terms of point percentage, they're, well, maybe not in terms of point percentage, but they're only 3 points back of Boston. Boston has 2 games in hand, right? The Red Wings are right there tied with them. It looks bad, not as bad as it looks. So definitely some good news in terms of the rest of the standings tonight. But Jesse, we got to talk about our boy Ivan right now. My gosh, what he's doing is legitimately crazy. I mean, I know we talk about it all the time, how it's insane, but like it is. There's probably other adjectives I could use. But watching this guy is unbelievable. Not only does he get a hat trick, that hat clip is so funny. He gets a hat trick on some smart goals. The positioning's always right. Even on his empty net goal at the end, he makes sure like he doesn't get the icing. He gets over the red line at center and then gets his way in, as you can see right here. Jesse, he is now only 2 points behind Kirill Kaprizov for the best season by any teenager in KHL history. Mind you, Demidov only turned 19 in December. He's 1 point back of Xhekaj last season, but it doesn't end there. We got a guy like Roman Rottenberg just recently saying he believes Ivan will be one of the best in the future. But the big thing here, that I found this on Reddit, credit to Poob06, who originally posted this, adjusting for 5-on-5 production. If you look at the rightmost column, 3.81 5-on-5 points per 60, Jesse. The Kaprizov season's the second best of any teenager, 2.88. A full point per 60 minutes below. Demidov is playing 2 full minutes less on the power play than anyone else on this list, not to mention the ice time being so much below. I know we talk about him so much, Jesse, but like, this guy, I'm convinced he's going to be a future top 5 NHL player, and that's my take, and I'm not backing down from it.
And I mean, the numbers support you. Of course, you know, he's right there behind Kirill Kaprizov right now. Obviously, like, he is on that trajectory. And what's so amazing to see is, like, we knew he wouldn't finish off his time in Russia without getting a hat trick, without really finishing with a bang, you know? But it's not just scoring the goals, it's doing a little bit of everything. Like, he's forechecking in these goals. He's winning battles along the boards, showing such tremendous IQ. I think one of the big highlights, as we see in the clip here, is really how he times his attack so well in the offensive zone. He's there by the boards, involved in a little bit of a battle there, but he knows right when to kind of find a seam. You know, similar to those Scheifele kind of Connor type goals. There's not much space there, but he's able to find it there in the offensive zone. And again, you know, showcasing that shot as well. You know, he really is putting in that perfect spot. There's not a huge window. The goalie makes a good play on it, but obviously he's able to finish it off there. So he's just really showing the full gamut of skills right now, which is just making us so excited because we're seeing a lot of detail in his game right now.
And that detail is going to translate very well. The amount of people saying, like, imagine this Habs team with Demidov next year. Like, I can't help but imagine it now, right? Like, all of these guys, like, Michkov's come over. He's one of the Rookie of the Year candidates, though I'd say he's firmly in third right now. He's still having a good season, right? When Panarin came over, he was a great player and turned into, like, a top 5 level player, if not top 10. Kaprizov has had moments where he's been a top 5 player in the league, maybe not over a full season, but again, you could argue early this season, he was the Hart favorite for a good, like, month or two, right? So there's a lot of guys. The guys that have put up the profile of Demidov have all had incredible success in the league. And Demidov looks better than them, right? And again, in terms of games played, like, I don't know if we can see games played in this. Yeah, you can. Everyone here, 49. Kaprizov's D+1 was 53 games. But right now, Demidov has 19 more games. He can go up to 67 games this year, and he's only 2 points back of Kaprizov. Not to mention he's 1 goal back of the goal record that is currently held by Kaprizov. He's tied with Kuznetsov, Ilya Tolvanen's age 18 season, and Matvei Michkov from last year. He has as many goals as Michkov in as many games, much better plus-minus, much lower time on ice, much lower power play time on ice, way better point per 60, way better 5-on-5 points per 60, and then anyone better than Kaprizov, Michkov, Kuznetsov. I can't get over this, right? That's the thing, Jesse. He is going to go down as having the best teenage season in KHL history in terms of volume, but also the rate stats. And that to me is, I think, something that's, I don't even think it's getting lost on people, but I think people don't realize the gravity of exactly how much and how good he is doing right now.
And that's why he's kind of projecting as that 100-point type of player. We know that we got that sniper in line. Somebody has that capability to get 40, 50, but still getting those 100 points, that's elusive. We got that point per game type of player, Nick Suzuki, Cole Caufield, but like Ivan Demidov, this is another breed. And I mean, like, this is just taken to a whole nother level because we enjoy when Nick Suzuki does. He's helping this team win so much, but sometimes you really need that elite skill to really kind of take you over the top.
Yep.
And that's really what Ivan Demidov is going to provide this team in their Stanley Cup aspirations. The things are lining up nicely right now, so it's all just kind of building on that at the moment.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what comes next, honestly. Like, if the Habs make the playoffs, great. If they miss the playoffs, guess what? We're taking a look at that draft lottery. We're taking a look at another pick. We're looking at trades. We're looking at all kinds of stuff. No matter what happens, the Habs are putting together competitive hockey. They're still firmly in the mix, Jesse. They're doing everything that we wanted them to do this year. They've taken strides defensively. They've solidified the decor. They're looking like they can compete against the best teams in the league. They're in the mix for a playoff spot. And our prospects are developing the way we wanted them to. Hage is exceeding expectations. Demidov somehow is still exceeding expectations. Lane Hudson is exceeding expectations. What is there not to like right now? Leave some love down below. I know it's a tough night, tough game, but we cannot be more excited for Demidov. Let us know your thoughts on everything down below, because that'll do it for this episode of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Thank you. Oh, Mitchell Stevens, player of the game. Forgot quickly at the end, Jesse. Juraj Slafkovsky. I mean, he's probably my guy.
Let's give it to our boy.
Give it to our boy Slaf. So I almost forgot. In losses, you start to lose track. Anyway, it is what it is. Thank you all for being here. I'm Josh Gosse, my co-host, Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you all in the next one.